Hello, it's Kyle here for episode 12 of my podcast, Mr Marvell and Friends. I might actually change that name because I'm starting not to like it, but that's another matter. Today we have Lokuzt. How you doing, Lokuzt?
Hey man, how you doing? Doing good.
Yeah,
Excited for another podcast.
yeah, I'm looking forward to this. Unfortunately, we did do a podcast with yourself and Sophia on these
Yeah.
subjects, but both of our audios were crap. So I thought it was unwatchable. So apologies to you and Sophia for that. But
Nah, no worries. We'll have
yeah,
Sophia back.
yeah, exactly. I just felt like I couldn't upload it. I did joke to Sophia saying I could just edit her bits and upload it. So it's just her talking to herself, but I didn't end up doing it. But yeah, so yeah, what have you been playing recently? What have you been up to?
Well, actually, like ever since that podcast, I just went on vacation. Uh, just been enjoying the sun, and now I'm back. And I'm, continuing the Uncharted series as I'm playing it on stream. I actually finished Uncharted 1 yesterday, so I'm gonna pick up Uncharted 2 next. So it's gonna be pretty cool. What have you been playing?
Nice. I love those games. The only game I've been playing is this game called Eldest Souls on the Switch. And I say play it, but I haven't really been playing it because I couldn't get past the first boss battle. Seriously, it's like Dark Souls level bosses, and I'm not good at tough bosses. I really like the opening to it, and obviously I beat the practice. It's not really a boss; it was just a little monster. I thought, okay, I'm getting the hang of this. Got to the first boss in this like castle, and I must have tried about 40 or 50 times, and yeah, not happening. You can only make like two mistakes, and I'm crap at that. And yeah,
Yeah, I gotta take a look at that. What's the name?
uh, Eldest Souls, I believe.
Eldest Soul. It even has souls in the name.
Yeah, look it
Okay.
up. But it's like it's not good graphics or anything. It's like an 8-bit pixelated game.
Oh
So I
yeah,
don't know if you'd like that. I'll try and get into like indie games like that.
yeah,
But yeah, you probably would beat it. You like that sort of stuff, where it's like a tough boss. I just
yeah.
I'm
I love it. I love Souls like games. I never played a lot of them because there's just too much of a backlog of video games to play through. So I'm like, and honestly, I couldn't like play those games a lot. So like if I play like Dark Souls, like I can't play another game like Dark Souls like immediately after Dark Souls. Like I can, it's just it gets tired a little bit. I except Sekiro, because Sekiro I played it like 5 times. I completed it like 5 times in a row. just
That's mental.
just getting everything. I still have to finish. I only have one achievement left. But it's kind of like a boring one where you have abilities that you can purchase with experience points. And to get it more experience points, you need to basically kill bosses and stuff like that. So I need about like maybe 2 playthroughs more to get enough skill points to buy the last ability. So I'm just like, okay, I'll do it whenever I pick it back up. I have a plan of doing a stream where I'm gonna try and in one sitting in as quick as possible to finish Sekiro, and then people will be able to submit points. And whenever someone submits, I'm still figuring it out, but whenever someone submits like something, I'm gonna try and beat Genichiro, which is like a boss. It's like uh, I'm gonna try and beat Genichiro blindfolded.
Bloody
It's like
hell.
I'm not saying that I can beat it. Like I can visualize the fight when I close my eyes, and I think that I can beat him almost. Like at least the first 2 phases, I think I can beat him.
Well, I'd like to see that. I'd like to see that. But yeah, that's all I've been playing. You might like it, but like I
Yeah,
said, it's quite an 8-bit pixelated game.
yeah, I'm gonna check it
But
out.
yeah, yeah. So let's get into today's topic. Obviously, it's the Assassin's Creed Infinity news. Well, it's not really news anymore, is it? It's quite old, but we still want to talk about it. And in the podcast that didn't come out, we did talk about sort of the allegations with the Ubisoft staff. But I think we'll leave that for today as Sophia's not here, and it's better to get a women's perspective on the topic, I would say.
Yeah.
So yeah, we'll leave that for another day. But I'm a bit gutted that conversation didn't go up because it was a good conversation. Both you and Sophia made a lot of good points.
Yeah.
Like I said, the audio was terrible.
Yeah, it's a shame that the audio wasn't salvaged, but yeah, we'll have Sophia back. So if it's still pertinent at the time, and if she wants to talk about it, like we can go through it again.
Exactly. So let's get into the live service news. That was a few weeks ago. What was your initial thoughts on it?
Yeah. Okay. So basically, I had bad thoughts initially, and then it sort of like simmered down a little bit because it's like we don't know what we're gonna get, and then there's some optimism, but it's like it's always that I guess I'm a little bit of an optimistic person, which I shouldn't be because like ever since it's always like, oh, maybe they're gonna improve this in the next Assassin's Creed, and it's always the opposite. Like, um, but the bad thoughts initially was more uh more to the side of monetization, and because it's Ubisoft after all, so my mind immediately went, okay, we're gonna get a ton of monetization. Everything is going to be monetized. Experience, like immediately, life service models, experience, like started popping into my head, and I was like, okay, that's the path that they're going. But I've had time to think about it. There's some cool scenarios that maybe if it wasn't Ubisoft, maybe if it was another company, that would be like super exciting for the gaming world. But we can talk that. You can talk about that, in a little while. What are your first thoughts on the thing?
Yeah, I remember my first thoughts was like, it's terrible news for the series, but I wasn't surprised. Um, but I thought I would rather like a live service than what we got with Odyssey and Valhalla. Like just these massive 80-hour, at least RPG stories that don't really have anything to do with assassins.
Yeah,
So there's opportunity there to make smaller, more grounded stories, sort of thing, with the live service and like seasons and that. But I don't want it. I just think it's better than what we've had in the last two games.
yeah. It's kind of tough because we really don't know where they're gonna go, and there are so many examples of like so far the live service models. I don't think there's ever been one that's like definitively super successful. uh I don't play Destiny, so I couldn't really tell you. Like obviously people that really like Destiny will like always defend it like to the death, but I don't think it has like enough content there to like keep people entertained for months. uh I look at games like Avengers, and it's like I thought the Wakanda expansion had been released like for months, and apparently still has to come out. And I was like, what? I was like, so these people have been playing the same missions, fighting robots. Like I'm literally Thor, and I'm fighting robots for months on end just to level up gear and cosmetics and a season pass. And it's like that's the part that scares me, right? Because of course Avengers game had it wrong when they put you fighting robots. Like that's not what you want to do when you're playing as Thor or Captain America. You don't want to fight robots all the time. So like Assassin's Creed is like, okay, they either go the assassin way, so with heists to steal stuff, with assassination contracts, maybe races for parkour. There's a lot of stuff that they can do still like ingrained in the world of Assassin's Creed that would make sense and that would keep people entertained for months on end. But then they could go the other way, which we've seen a little bit here with Valhalla, with, oh, there's a festival now with where you can chase pigs and pick up a box and put it in another place. And then you can buy gear from that festival. And that's not like, whenever I see myself like, I'm playing Assassin's Creed, I don't want to do that. And then the other players who want to be Vikings, they also don't want to do that. So it's like Viking, people that are like, oh, I want to play just for the Viking fantasy. Is like, I don't want to chase pigs around. Like, I've been waiting for new stuff to do, and they make me chase pigs for like a flower crown or something. It's like it's kind of like that live service where it's like they give you new content, but does that content really for you? Is that something that like worries you at all?
Yes, yes. And I feel like
That sigh.
I feel like it's going to be so repetitive, just like the raids are in Valhalla. Just the same thing. There's going to be a lot of that, which a lot of live service games are repetitive, aren't they? They'll have to keep really on top of it to do different worlds, like they say, Caribbean world, a Viking world.
Yeah, because just imagine, like, imagine yourself, like, as a developer, like, you can't curate like handcrafted missions like for months on end. You're gonna have to have a few ones that are like auto-generated, like you already have. You've had some since Origins that were auto-generated, and not Odyssey as well. It was like the Reda contracts. Those are like auto-generated, and then you can like kill someone. It's always it has no substance. Just go and kill, and you get opals and stuff. And it's always very repetitive because handcrafting these missions, it's kind of like we still don't know what they're gonna do, and we still don't know if it's gonna function exactly as a live service model, like like they could be doing like a sort of like Assassin's Creed game that can keep getting content. So, for example, they release the game, and you have let's just say China, and then you play a little bit of the storyline there, and then soon as you finish the story and you do all the stuff in China, there's like a cliffhanger, and then you can keep doing the same things that you do, and then they release like an expansion, like a really big expansion, like a year after, or maybe 2 years after. And that's like something like you can even get out of the Animus, and then you load up into the Animus, and you can choose like which part of the storyline you want to go through. And maybe they're gonna go back to the memory sequences where you can replay specific stuff. And I mean, we don't know what they that's what I would want to see, something a little bit more less live servicey, where they sell me a season pass for gear, but we don't know where they're going to go. And of course, like, as soon as we read that live service thing, I think it's normal for people to be a little bit worried there, because I don't want to, I feel like they want to put people like into the game and then play it every day just for the sake of it. Because that's what they kind of do now with the challenges, like the Ubisoft challenges and the Reda contracts to get opals. And then you can buy gear with that opal. And it's like, what's the point of playing a game, right? If there's no substance to it. It's like, and then
boring, that sort of stuff.
Yeah, it's boring, and it's like it has no substance. And then the thing is, it preys on the FOMO aspect, which is the fear of missing out. And it's like, when this festival comes out, there's a one-handed sword that you can get now, because yay, one-handed swords are in. You can get a one-handed sword, but it's like, let's just say, like, of course, one-handed swords are going to be in the Siege of Paris DLC, but let's just say that maybe you haven't bought the DLC. So if you miss out, let's say you're in vacation during this event, you're going to miss out on the one-handed sword. You're not going to be able to buy it unless they sell it through Reda Shop. And maybe you don't play the game every day, so you don't have enough opals. So let me just buy some Helix credits so I can buy the. So you can see where this goes. You know,
Yeah.
it kind of like a lot of people also get the like it's that kind of like online game. Like League of Legends has that a little bit. The card games have that a lot of like fear of missing out. There's like a new stuff, and people want to get the stuff that is being released. So I fear that Assassin's Creed Infinity might turn into something like that, where you have the season pass and then the season pass is going to expire, right? Like Magic Arena does that, where you have the season pass and you can complete it. Like if you play like every single day of the season, you can sort of like complete it. Or if you play like a lot, you can complete it before it ends. But I feel like if they do something like where the season pass expires once the next expansion is going to hit, like you are going to be compelled, like, but I sort of like, I kind of want those things. So you're going to be compelled to play every single day, not because you want to or you're like to, but more because you are fearful of missing out on content of the game. And, I think that's a little bit negative.
Yeah, I can see it being like that, and if it's like that, I won't be playing it at all. It's kind of, I've heard a few people say this. It's kind of good to know that that could be the last game, Assassin's Creed game we play, sort of thing. Because I reckon a lot of people like me will just try it out, realize it's not for them, and just forget the series. Just remember the old games and just forget it.
Play the old games.
Yeah, I'm at that point anyway because of the last two games. But yeah. I mean, going back to Valhalla, a lot of people are also saying that Valhalla's like a love letter to the older games, and I agree. I agree, it's a love letter, but at the end it says, "P.S. I was cheating on you. I'm cheating on you." That's what it's like. That's what it feels like.
I'm sorry.
That's what it feels like to me, because there was some promises that it was going to return to proper to the proper lore.
But here's the thing. I've also thought about it. Like we've conjured these, negative thoughts about the Infinity Project, but Ubisoft hasn't been doing too well on the online, game departments, live servicey game departments. Like their game for which is their battle royale, which was named, Hyperscape. Hyperscape failed. It was like a battle royale game. Their game for mobile, which was like a connection, it had like Elite Squad, which is like a mobile game, live service as well, like full of characters from Rainbow Six Siege, and it had like Splinter Cell, like Sam Fisher on the game, and it was kind of like a live servicey mobile game that also went it shut down.
So they've got a bad track record already.
Yeah, so far they've not been doing well. Now they announced that Call of Duty kind of like game for their stuff. So we still have to see if that's going to do any good. I don't believe it will, because Ubisoft doesn't have a good reputation in the gaming community. It's something that if you're inside the Ubisoft sphere, you don't have a very good sense. Like if you poke around in other communities and other forums, and like Ubisoft doesn't have a very good track record, like especially and Call of Duty, like even with the Activision Blizzard stuff going on, Call of Duty is still going to be a force, and it may take a hit with all this stuff. But it's like Ubisoft is also in those things. So if Call of Duty is going to take a hit, like imagine if Call of Duty takes a hit, then the Ubisoft Call of Duty kind of like game, it's not going to even stand a chance, I think. People are just used to Call of Duty. Call of Duty is the norm. So I don't think people will be like, I'm just going to switch and jump over to the other game. I don't think that's going to happen.
Yeah,
because yeah.
I
So go
just
ahead.
I just can't see it being a success. I don't think
Yeah, that's the thing.
the storytelling won't be good enough.
That's the thing. That's why I believe that the Infinity Project, like for now, is of course still like they're still thinking up the project. They're like starting assembling teams and organizing teams across the two studios because apparently Montreal and Quebec are going to be, joining forces on this. And like there's still like nothing. They're probably even thinking how they're going to do it right now. and they don't have anything. I don't think so. So it's like I feel like if the Call of Duty Ubisoft game kind of flops a little bit, I think they're going to probably rethink a lot of things. And honestly, ask yourself, like, really ask yourself, as in, like, put yourself in the position of a businessman, like, not as a gamer, even you, the viewer. If you're like, you absolutely love Assassin's Creed Odyssey and Valhalla, if you love those games to death, put yourself like, put that out of your mind and put yourself as like a businessman and trying to sell a game. And it's like, let's say they do an Assassin's Creed Infinity full of life service stuff where all you do is like kill 5 wolves every single day for some 10 experience points for the season pass, and you have like this basic sort of warrior fantasy, kind of like Odyssey and Valhalla. Is that going to sell? As in, like, keep players engaged? Like actually keeping players in the game every single day playing, like normal gamers. I'm not saying fans of the franchise, because obviously fans of the franchise are going to be, was like a normal gamer, someone who was looking for the next big live service or whatever. I don't think it will. I don't think it will sell that well. So, and I have to imagine like somehow that some people in there in Ubisoft are kind of thinking, well, this is not gonna, like, it can sell copies, but still the copies haven't sold more than ever than Unity, right? Unity was the biggest seller of copies, and then ever since then, no one has ever been able to beat it in terms of copies. So it's like, I feel like they are gonna take a look, and they're probably gonna try and make it an Assassin's Creed experience so that it doesn't flop, right?
That's your optimism speaking, there,
Yeah,
mate.
yeah, that's the thing, because honestly, like, if I was making this game, if you want to go the easy route, yeah, sure, like make it Valhalla live service stuff, like really lazy. But then I don't think that they would put it like so late, like saying it's gonna for 2024. I don't think they would put it so late, and then they would probably release it next year if it was something like that. So I feel like I kind of lost my, my train of thought there.
It's just not going to be a success unless it's like an
Oh
AC
yeah, and
experience.
yeah, because like look at Marvel Avengers, that game. Like, I love the Avengers. I love Marvel comics. I love DC comics. I would love to play that game, but every time that I get the urge to buy that game, I get reminded of, you play the story, you have fun in the story, but then all you do is just fight robots. Even in the story, there's like no really amazing fight. It's like you're fighting robots through 90% of the game. And that alone is like, that's not the Avengers experience. And that's why the game kind of flopped a little bit. And they're sort of like trying to, I don't know what they're going to do with the Wakanda expansion, but maybe if they include some really cool villains, maybe some cool villain fights in there where people can actually play as a team and then defeat like a villain or something. They need that game needs that Avengers experience. The game flopped because it's just Thor beating up a robot. It's like, that's not the Avengers experience. So I think for Assassin's Creed, what they need to do, and I think they know that, they have to know that, it's like that stuff is not going to sell unless they sell people a specific experience that they can't get anywhere else, because then people won't stay on the live service. Being a live service game where you have to dedicate a generous amount of time each day or each week, people won't stay in that game if it's not something that, if it like, it's just a warrior fantasy. I can just play Ghost of Tsushima. It's much better, right? It's like, okay.
Exactly. I remember playing Sea of Thieves when it came out, and there was like nothing to do. And to be fair, since then they've added loads of stuff, and I've seen videos saying Sea of Thieves is actually a good game now and stuff like that. And I know Ubisoft are a bigger developer in that, but I can see it being something like that where they release minimal content and people just think, do you know what, I'll stop playing it and I won't jump back on it. In years, like in 3 years' time, after the release, it might have loads of great content. It might be worth playing.
Yeah.
I don't know, but it might be that sort of situation. But we sort of touched on it earlier about sort of the direction it could go in. Do you think it'll just be seasons? Like, let's just say it's Assassins based, like you said. Do you think it would just be seasons, and it'll be like worlds, like a Caribbean world and a Japan world and a China world?
Mm-hmm.
Do you think it'll be like that?
Well, if I think it will kind of be like that, and it really depends on how much effort they're kind of like, they want to put in, because they can just like do all of these worlds and then just do generic side quests or generic quests alongside the story. But I think I think it's going to be something like that, like hubs, like the Japan world, where you can visit a few cities and ride around in the countryside a little bit. I romanced the idea of maybe including a fully rebuilt Florence city hub, in Venice city hub,
That
where
would be
you get,
amazing.
yeah, where you get like the quests from Ezio or La Volpe, or people like that, that can connect everything to the pre-established lore, and they can build on that. And it's sort of like something, to connect everything. But they would have to, for that to happen, they would have to include in assassins and the assassin experience.
Yeah. See, a lot of the fans now are just because of the RPG elements. We've still got a lot of older fans like us, but I don't know. So if you switch back to assassin stuff, will it lose some fans? I don't know.
I think honestly, it's kind of like, will it lose a few people? Yes, it will lose a few people, but I think those people didn't care for the game anyway. I think like they're I think if someone says, oh, if Assassin's Creed goes back to Assassins, I'm not gonna play. It's like, okay, bye. Like then and obviously you don't like the franchise. It's just a gameplay. Like the franchise is more than just gameplay. It's also the story and stuff like that. And and I honestly think that they have to come back to Assassins, connecting back to the point about the assassin experience. But do you think they will include back the Assassins?
I'm not sure, because like I asked you that question because okay, it'll be great to go back to Assassins, but from their perspective, they will think about the people who have just jumped on because it's an RPG. I know loads of people who just started playing Assassin's Creed because it went to an RPG.
Mm-hmm.
When I told them about, like some of my mates, when I told them about Assassin's Creed in the past, they're like, "Nah, I don't really fancy it." As soon as it becomes an RPG, yeah, I'll have some of that.
Mm-hmm.
So that'll be part of our decision process, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I just don't think it's going to work.
Yeah, and also I think like the open world RPG stuff, it's kind of like here to stay, kinda. ish. I feel like, like there's a lot of good games that came out that didn't include this huge open world. So I think people are like realizing that they don't need a huge open world to, feel that the game is good. But the thing about, I really think that they know that in order for this to have some sort of success, they need to include assassins and the assassins experience. And I don't know if that's my optimism speaking, but honestly, like I can totally see a game where if they put care into the parkour, so basically bringing back one of the core pillars of the Assassin's Creed experience, parkour, social stealth, also improved stealth, and then also having combat as well. Like, and having all those things, it opens up so much in terms of content, because assassins being stealthy and fighters opens up so much content. Like, if they add parkour, you can have parkour races with your friends, with people. You can have leaderboards, so people can be like, "Oh, I'm an Assassin's Creed racer. Like, I can go through Venice in like 2 minutes or whatever." Like, like that's one avenue of a ton of content. So everybody, like, let's say one person really likes parkour races, and they log in every single day so that they can keep their high score there. Like they log in every day to see if anyone has beat their high score. And you have weekly races or daily races even. There's a in terms of racing, there's a big community, for example, for the cars and everything. E-racing and stuff like that is pretty big, with leaderboards and everything for countries as well, like regionals. Like, this is the Portugal leaderboard, and then the best go to the championship too, and it's all online, and it's like, that's really cool. That's a huge avenue of content just right there, just in racing, in parkour racing. So that's one. And then fighting, it's like, okay, you can have maybe fights, like,
The Rooks.
sort of like that, sort of like, even though it doesn't, I don't know how they would do that, like with several time periods. Like, of course, fight clubs have probably existed in a lot of places, but I don't know just how they would fit, like, in every single time period,
Do
like
you remember?
fighting clubs.
Remember that old gladiator in Odyssey? Was it
Ah,
Odyssey? Oh no, it was Origins, I think. He was like this big old geezer, and he got Bike to fight. Was it Bike? Yeah, Bike to fight for him. I think it was Origins.
oh, but okay, but yeah, you're kind of like fine, talking about uh um you're talking about gladiators, and I mean that could be one avenue of, like, sort of like an underground fighting club, where it's sort of like akin to gladiators. And if it changes, let's say they do an expansion in Egypt, or Rome, for example, you have actually the Colosseum and an actual gladiator show. But that would be an avenue of content for combat. And then you have stealth, which you can do heists, which is like stealing stuff and important items. And then you have assassination contracts, and you can even do saving people. You can do um you can do like a mix of everything, like kind of like a co-op mission, sort of like Unity. You have like a segment of stuff like that. They could maybe look at dynamically generating stuff like that, so sort of like dungeons, where they would generate, like, it's not open world, so you wouldn't have to go there. So it's like you go to a place and you have your friends, like your two friends. You're like, oh, let's do a run. Let's do a run, a stealth run or something. And okay, and that auto generates like a something where it's like, okay, you have to you have to steal this, and then you steal that, and then something happens, and you have to do something else. You know, I'm just like thinking off the top of my head right now, but it's like there's a lot of content there, and of course, being I already said my friends and online and stuff like that, because I think that for this to work, for this infinity idea to work, it has to be online with people, because it's sort of like the future.
Yeah.
And that's the thing that makes me optimistic, because it's like I immediately think about it. It's like if I played a game like that, I think I'd probably be doing parkour races all the time. Like I love parkour. I would be parkour races, maybe trying to get on the leaderboard. I would, hey, let's play a few dungeon runs, not dungeon. You know? Let's do a few stealth ones. You know, you understand?
Yeah, I think that sounds cool. Whether they do it or not is another question. But I would love them.
Yeah.
I would love parkour races in multiple sort of in cities, in jungles. You know, like in Black Flag.
Yeah,
that would be cool. Yeah, I'd love that.
yeah.
There's so many things they could do with this live service. I just don't trust them to do it. I reckon it'll be more like river raids, different types of river raids and shit like that. You know, that's what I expect. And I don't think the storytelling will be good. But in terms of combat and gameplay, you've pretty put a lot of good ideas in there. That they should listen to you, I think, as developers.
Well,
because that'd be cool. That would be cool.
Yeah. That's the thing. Like, of course, I understand people being pessimistic about it. Like, I totally understand. Because what we've been seeing with the Reaver raids has not been like particularly interesting. Like,
I just ignored him. I flat out ignored that geezer.
Well, I played the River raids and I was like, initially I thought, oh, this is actually pretty cool, until I realized that it's like, oh no, this is the same, like this is the same place. I'm supposed to be on another river, but it supposedly the place looks the same. Like the layout of the castle is the same. So I'm like, okay, so this is like copy paste kind of deal. And it's like I understand that they want to give us this sort of content, but I would love to see them just say, okay, this is not quality stuff, so let's just not build it.
Yeah.
Let's not waste resources on this and just allocate the resources into, I can totally see them like cutting out the festivals. Like, I don't care about the festivals. Like, what would you like? You get like a flower crown. Like, okay, you can just give me the flower crown on a free update. That'd be the same. But they could have like cut out those festivals, cut out the river raids, and then allocate all those resources into bug fixing and maybe helping on the DLCs. I mean, maybe the game would be in a lot better position right now.
Yeah, and make it a lot shorter. Because this is the thing, right? The game is too long, as I've said loads of times before, Valhalla. Why couldn't they just do it as long as Origins, like 25 hours, and then have side content on top of that? Because Origins was just about RPG enough. I know the social stealth went, and that's not great, but it made sense. Origins felt part of the Assassin's Creed universe to me, even though there wasn't social stealth in that.
Yeah,
it felt believable in the universe, whereas Odyssey and Valhalla do not, in my opinion. Like, make the story shorter and make them during the times of the assassins. That's all I want. But now we're into a live service thing, and here we are. Here we are. But I thought we'd touch on. I think we've pretty much covered that. I thought we'd touch on Siege of Paris. What are your sort of expectations for Siege of Paris?
Well, I of course I am always optimistic, where I'm like, I hope they have included world events instead of like normal activities. Like, I guess I'll see when I play it, but that's one of the things that I really want to see is just look into the map and see, do they make me fish for 5 salmon to offer to a rock, or do they give me like a small world event that is kind of like breaks up the monotony of riding around right on the field? So I think that's one of the big ones. In terms of story, I don't know. It's the second DLC, so I think I kind of expect a more grander story. On the Wrath of the Druids, I wasn't really expecting too much of a story. I kind of wanted a connection to the modern day line, but I hope that since this is a bigger DLC, I hope they connect it somehow, like in some way. So, and I think that's pretty much it. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. What are yours?
I'm expecting it to be a glorified raid, basically. You know, with a few bureaus died around, like I think you said on a previous podcast.
Yeah.
With a couple of codex pages and a couple of letters and Eivor completely ignoring all of that sort of stuff. And yeah, a few targets to kill.
Yeah.
And that'll be that. But I hope I'm wrong.
Yeah. Because I don't think we've had I don't think we've had like a full trailer out, which is weird. I think by this time, like in about a week, tomorrow is going to be about a week.
Yeah, it was that UB Forward thing, wasn't it, that we've seen? That's the only thing.
Yeah. But that's the thing. In Wrath of the Druids, I feel like we saw like an actual trailer for the. What did we? Maybe I'm misremembering.
Can't remember. It might have been like
there was a launch
before.
trailer. Yeah, there was a launch trailer. Like a few, I think we had. I don't know. Maybe I'm misremembering. But but oh yeah. We are missing the black box missions.
Of course.
A lot of people were like talking about the black box, and there was even a former developer that was like, oh, people, it's just a name, because even Assassin's Creed 1 missions were black box missions, which I agree to a degree, because you can kill the target however you see fit. But I think the main difference in black box assassinations in Unity is the opportunity system. It's the main difference. Like, you can still kill the character however you see fit, but the game actually tells you several opportunities that you can take advantage of to then sort of like try and generate either a great advantage to your mission, or generate a unique kill, kind of like how you kill Sever on the confession thing. So I think that's the main difference. That's why they call it black box, and then that's why they are reviving the term here. Not because it's however you see fit, it's because the game is actually going to tell you opportunities, like, oh, you can go here and cause a distraction, like with a fire that will take out those guards. And I'm like, okay. And then if the player wants, they can go there and put the fire out and then go. And I think that's the only difference. And that's that. I think that's what we're gonna get. We're gonna get like a mission, probably, like one of the main targets or something, and some opportunities are gonna pop up in your screen, like, oh, you can go here, go here, and you decide whatever you want to do. So I think we're gonna see it like that.
Yeah, that is kind of cool. It is something different to the main game, which I do appreciate. So that'll be interesting. I guess it's how they deliver it, you know.
Yeah.
But yeah, other than that, I just don't know if it'll be any good. But that's just me at the minute. That's my poor attitude at the minute.
Yeah, I'm still excited for it. Like, I'm still excited for it because I kind of want Valhalla to get to a point where it's like that it's a great game, and it's also like I want it to be amazing, because it's like, if it's good, then it's like a good sign, right? It's like, if it's good, it's a good sign. But then again, it's always my optimism going a little bit, taking over a little bit.
I guess it's better to be like you got, but I'm not as much let down.
Yeah, exactly.
So no, I did rate Wrath of the Druids more higher than you. I gave it a 7, you gave it a 6. But what I didn't explain at the time was if I took, I isolated it from Assassin's Creed and I gave it a 7.
Yeah.
But
Okay.
if I'm looking at Wrath of the Druids as an Assassin's Creed DLC, I'll give it like 2 or something,
Yeah.
Because
I can totally see your point there.
Yeah. So, but for Siege of Paris, I won't isolate it because I'm done with doing that now. Just done. But I hope people enjoy it. I hope people enjoy the one-handed swords because that seems to be something people are looking forward to. And yeah, we'll see. So, is there anything else you wanted to add? Anything AC related? Anything gaming wise?
I don't think so. I think kind of talked about the Infinity stuff and then the DLC, which is gonna come out next week. So I'm kind of pumped for that. So unless you wanna you have something on your mind?
I don't think so. Nah. No, I haven't been gaming so much recently. Once I came out of isolation, I've just been trying to go outside as much as possible,
Yeah, enjoying it.
Yeah, and plus
the fresh air.
Yeah, like just go for walks, go gym, and I even went down the pub the other night.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm just trying to get out of the house.
Yeah, it's a good thing to do.
Yeah. Well, I think we'll wrap that up then. Obviously, people know where to find you at Lokuzt on the various channels and that.
Like links down below, so
of course,
you can check it out.
Yeah, of course. And yeah, I guess we'll wrap up. Thanks for joining me, mate. I appreciate that, especially after what happened with the last one.
Don't worry, it's always a pleasure, man.
Yeah, and make sure you subscribe to Lokuzt. He's got some good videos. I need to check out your latest video. Actually, I haven't seen that yet. I need.
Okay. Then you let me know what you thought about it.
Yeah, I will do. But yeah, like and subscribe to this video. See you soon, and yeah, have a good one.
Bye, everyone.
See ya.